Right, folks, I heard something today on that there radio and also on the TV. And on the back of it, I suggest let's have a heated debate, as Mrs. Merton would say, but take the heated back. It's warm enough out there anyway. Let's be civil about this. They were asking on the radio today, is Andy Murray the greatest British sportsman of all time? My thoughts in a moment. They asked the same question on Channel 5 on the Jeremy, I keep wanting to say Kyle, Vine show. Now, I hate folk that are thick, that are stupid, that do stupid things and get paid good money. And that's the show I want to concentrate on for a minute. Because the question was with them, was Andy Murray, or is Andy Murray the greatest sportsman of all time? They forgot to put, in brackets, in Britain. And I thought, how could you do that? I mean, greatest sportsman of all time, we all know they meant Britain, but they should have put Britain. The woman presenter at the start asked the question, and then when it came up on the screen, all typed out and whatever else, he said the same. Greatest sportsman of all time. And I thought, which idiots are writing this show? Absolutely stupid. I know they meant British, but that's not the point. I thought, greatest sportsman of all time. I've wrote some bits and pieces down. I thought, well, you've got Tiger Woods. You've got old Jack, the Golden Bear Nicholas. There's a couple. What about Muhammad Ali? You've got him as well. Is he better than any of them? I don't think so. Is he close? Nowhere near. And then in his own game, you've got Djokovic, Federer and Nadal. Is he as good as any of them? No. Is he close? Not far off, but really, in terms of titles, nowhere near. For me, to be honest with you, although Andy is great, well, no, I'll give you the analogy in a bit. I'll give you an analogy about Andy in a bit, what I think of Andy Murray. And I don't dislike him at all. I think he's a nice fella, great tennis player, definitely one of our greatest sportsmen. I've even left your man, the motor car driver off here. I know he's not a motor car driver. You know what I mean. Hamilton, I've even left him off. I forgot him. But it's all subjective, this. But I forgot him anyway. And he's brilliant. He's won lots of world championships, you know what I mean? But never even had him on here. But I put on mine Bestie. And now I know Bestie wasn't around long. Of course he wasn't. But an absolute world beater. What a player. Pele once famously said he was the best player in the world. I think Pele said it a bit tongue-in-cheek. He said it to appease and please George. But it did please George. And he drew it like a gun, that one. He used that pretty regularly, to be honest with you. Then when you go to athletics, the golden years, you've got Coe and Ovett. I know they used to beat one another, but look how many world titles they won. Olympics and all that palaver, world championships, everything. They were absolutely brilliant. At a time when the middle distance runners throughout the world, many of them were fantastic, but they were head and shoulders above all of them. Then you've got Mo Farah. Well, what Mo Farah did for about 6 or 8 years was unbelievable. The problem is with Mo, there's always been that suggestion of the old drugs, even if it's only to do with the people that have trained him. Then you've got Linford Christie. Well, Linford, I think he was Olympic champion. Was he Olympic champion once? I think he was. But he came from a golden era of sprinters, golden era. Now, don't get me wrong, one of the greatest of all time in old Carl Lewis. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. But we heard he was doing naughty things, as were many of the Yanks. And the thing is, let's be honest about things. Let's, be even-handed. It's always been rumoured that Linford did things he shouldn't have done. There was times he missed tests and so on and so forth. He's always disputed it, but it's always hung over him, as we know. Then you go to say, Rocket, I forgot the Rocket fellow, Sullivan. Now, I know it's only snooker and someone says it's not a sport, but it's a sport. And he's brilliant. He's peerless. He's absolutely fantastic. I forgot Filthy Phil Taylor. No, that's him out of Motorhead, not him. Phil Taylor. I forgot Phil. Darts. Unbelievable. But he could get eclipsed by someone from Warrington in the coming years if the guy wants it enough. But he was absolutely brilliant, the best we've ever seen. Then it brings me to the people that I probably think should be looked at as the best British sportsman of all time. You might have realised already I've not got it Murray. In my eyes, it's not Murray. Nick Faldo. Now, Nick Faldo, I've never liked him. Not over kidding him as a person or as a commentator. But I can't deny he was absolutely brilliant. And I mean brilliant. And he won majors and what have you at a time when there was a fantastic array of golfers out there. Now the thing is, I think he won 4 or 5. I'm not sure the exact amount, but I think it was 4 or 5. When there were great golfers out there, and the equipment isn't as good as it is now. But then again, it was the same for everybody, I suppose. But I think he won 4 or 5. I think Murray's won 3. I think. I might be wrong. I've not done my homework. I think. But then we get to 2. This is the next one I'm going to say you probably won't agree with. For a while I was thinking this was the greatest sportsman of all time. And then I thought, how could you forget the last person that you're going to mention? Next to last, this is the one I was thinking is the greatest of all time. Daly. Thompson, I think just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He ruled the roost, was it 6 or 8 years? And I mean, he ruled the roost. Had some fantastic competition, but always turned up, always delivered. You could put your house on Daly to win and you wouldn't lose your house. He was brilliant. And alright, some might say the decathlon's a bit Mickey Mouse and not all the greatest sportsmen in the world go for him, and that might be the case. But at the end of the day, you've got to master, is it 8 or 10? Is it 10? I think it's disciplines. I think it's 10. It's a lot. It's a lot. And he was brilliant at many of them. Absolutely brilliant. And the ones he weren't as great on, he put his heart and soul into. He ran them through and jumped above himself. He had to, because he was limited with some of the sports, but he always gave his all. So I was thinking up till about an hour ago, it's Daly Thompson. Then I thought, how can you forget numero uno? How on earth can you forget numero uno? There's one that bestrides absolutely everybody for me. Everybody. And again, it's somebody I didn't particularly like. I respected him. I knew how great he was, and it's all men this. I'm sorry about that, folks, but I respected him, but I didn't like him. I've said in the past. My favourite, and my favourite was nowhere near as good as him, I know that, was a guy called Jeff Lewis. So you know who I'm going to mention now, because you know what sport I'm on about. The long fella. Lester Piggott. Have we ever had a greater sportsman than Lester Piggott? He rode at a time when horse racing was on the back pages all the time, when the Derby was possibly the most watched sporting event in Great Britain. He got into scrape after scrape after scrape. He made Alex Higgins look like a choir boy. He even did jail. Did he lose it? Did he get a knighthood and lose it or whatever else? I think he did. But unbelievable. They called him the long fella because he was too tall to be a jockey. He spent his life not eating. He smoked cigars. Virtually never ever ate. Couldn't eat. Couldn't eat because of his weight. Rode the greatest horses of all time and jocked to the folk off. He had a skin as thick as a rhinoceros. But he wanted the right horse. And when he was on the right horse, he could deliver. Yes, he did the odd thing wrong, horse-wise, when trying to deliver, but 9.5 times out of 10, you put your life on him. You'd actually put your life on him. Dettori recently has been brilliant. The last few years, absolutely brilliant. Was he as good as Lester? For me, no. There's never been a Lester. I don't think there ever will be. Look at Willie the Shoe in America, how many races he won. But Lester was the champion. I mean, just give you a couple of figures. I think the amount of wins was about 4,500. I think it was something like that. It could have been more if he'd stayed there all the time, but he was jet setting in then everywhere, riding horses all over the world. But he had his first winning ride, aged 12. 12? You've only just left junior school. These horses go at 30 odd mile an hour. You fall, you can kill yourself. First winning ride at 12. That there, Adoc, if memory serves. Only around the corner from me. Last winning ride, it'd have been 58 or 59. 58 or 59. Say 59, take off 12, what's that? 47. A 47-year career. I say 47-year career, he had 5 years off. He retired. He had things to do, like go to jail, and he didn't pass go, he just went to jail. Came out of jail, 5 years later, decided to give it another go. 10 years into his new career as a 55-year-old, he wins at the Breeders' Cup on Royal Academy. 10 days in. 10 days in! 2 years later, it's 2,000 guineas on Rodrigo de Triano. Have we ever seen his like? No. Will we ever again? I wouldn't have thought so. So for me, folks, the greatest British sportsman of all time would be the long fella, Lester Piggott. Number 2 for me would probably be Daly Thompson, and at a push, I might have to put Faldo third, and I don't really want to. This is what I thought about Andy Murray when I was thinking about Andy Murray. I looked at Cohen Ovett. They say Cohen Ovett because that's the way people say it. It was always said that way. The C came first and it sounds better. I was always an Ovett man. Ovett all the time for me. I love Steve. He was my hero. As a kid for me, there was the Holy Trinity and they were all bad boys. Best, Ovett, and the Hurricane. They were my 3. Loved them. Loved Ovett. But for me, Andy Murray really was probably your Peter Elliott. Think about it, Peter Elliott. Do you remember him? Remember him? He would have been one of the greatest runners of all time had he not a race when Cohen Ovett did. And unfortunately for Peter, he came from the same country. He was British, English. And then I thought to myself, just behind Cohen Ovett and a bit younger was Cram, old Crammy. Steve Cram was a great runner. I would suggest probably better than Elliott and one more. So Elliott was like fourth in line of those four. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, Andy Murray, Peter Elliott. See, you've got it. That's how I'm looking at it. Great tennis player, really great. Never gave up. You've seen that this week at the Old Olympics. Behind and came through. Couldn't do it, you see. You can't keep doing it. Nowhere near the player he used to be, but a will to win, and an iron will to win. Didn't want to give up. Went on for a year and a half, 2.5 years, longer than he should have done, just because he loved the game and wanted to win more. I take my hat off to him. Not that I'm wearing one, but if I were, I would. But for me, maybe the Peter Elliott of tennis. Some might not get that, but some will. I think some will say, you know what? That's a cracking analogy, is that? If only one of you says it, I'll be happy. Say it, even if you don't mean it. Go on, I dare you. Somebody just say it. I think that's a cracking analogy. Anyway, Leicester, Daley Thompson. Who did I say next? Faldo. I don't want Faldo in there. I don't like him. Can I change him for anybody? I'd love to put Ovett in there, but I can't. I love Ovett. I'd love to put Georgie in there, but Georgie had the shortest career in the bloody world. I can't get Alex Higgins in there, but then again, if he was fourth and someone was there, he could butt him to get in. He's butted referees and stuff as Alex. It didn't matter. No, can't get Alex in there. No, that'll have to be it for me. Leicester, Daley Thompson, Nick Faldo. I'm putting him even before O'Sullivan and Taylor and all those people. Yeah, I class them more as proper sports for all. I love snooker and darts and whatever else. Yeah, that's my three, folks. What are yours? Answers on a post. No, not on a postcard. Down below. Who said on a postcard? It's not a pigging competition, is it? Eh? Hey, Eric Malcolm. Right, I'm going. See you later.